Hello folks and welcome back to Medieval Total War. I am Conistip and this is going to be part 32 of my early campaign where I'm playing as England. And in the last time I think I did continue to fight off Mongols down here in the Levant. I don't think the French attacked me, although they might have. I can't remember. It's all blur at this point. But I am hoping, as per usual, to... I do want a quiet episode. I would like to have some time to just restructure my forces and to catch up on my economy and my military tech up. I still don't have longbowmen in every single province yet. I'm still working on that. I can't train any down here in the Levant. So I'm still working on getting that just even up here in my European provinces. I am training longbowmen here in Ile-de-France and Wales. But yeah, no places down here. I'm working on getting that castle here in Palestine so that eventually I can train longbowmen down there, but it just got started, so it's going to be a while. Now, the Mongols in Syria don't seem too threatening now. There's one 9-man unit of Mongol heavy cav, and that's it. So they might still attack, but I don't see them being any issue to me, unless they do want to bring down some more Mongol heavy cav from Armenia, which they might do. Now, the Mongols up here in Anatolia are pretty spread out, and I have to imagine that's going to be going in the Byzantines' favor, although I don't know, it might be hard for both of them. But the fact that all of these Mongol heavy cav units are all spread out and not consolidated into one force that has to favor the Byzantines, right? So we'll see. They're going to just kind of go back and forth up here in Anatolia. But up here in the steppe, the Mongols are going to get pushed back. The Poles are not having any of it. They're just pushing the Mongols back to the edge of the map. And that is going to be that. So I'm trying to remember. I don't know how the Mongol recruiting system works. For some reason, I feel like they can't recruit any Mongol heavy cav units. They just have the Mongol heavy cav units that they spawn with when they do enter the map. And then once they are on the map, they can only train like the steppe heavy cav units, like the steppe light cav units. The thing is that I don't know why I think that. I can't remember where my sources for that are from. So that might be completely wrong, and maybe they can train Mongol heavy cav and Mongol horse archers and napthas and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know how the Mongol recruiting system works. I actually don't. So if you know the answer to that, then please let me know. Because we know that, like, typically the Mongol aggression does typically slow down. And I think that it was assumed that it's because they can't train any new soldiers, but is that actually the case? Maybe it's just because their economy sucks and they're not building up their buildings and their tech. I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't know the answer to that. Sometimes they actually do build some boats, so it's not like they won't do that. They will. So yeah, I don't know. I keep thinking, and again, this is kind of like a long-held belief, but sometimes with long-held beliefs, we kind of forget where they came from, and maybe they were just wrong the whole time. But my long-held belief was that we just, it's these Mongol heavy cav units that we have to worry about. And then when they're kind of gone, then the Mongol armies themselves are kind of limp after that. So that might be wrong. Yeah. Oh, look at that name. Shudadai. I like that name. That's kind of fun to say. So yeah, I'm going to continue to restructure my forces. Despite the fact that this army has been rather neutered, I still have to make sure that I have an even balance of forces in these provinces. I think they attacked Tripoli in the last time, so I'm going to have to make sure Tripoli is ready to go. And up here, I don't see France making any more moves against me, whether it's Flanders or Ile-de-France. I just don't see it happening. I could be wrong, but obviously I have to stay vigilant and make sure that they do not attack me, but hopefully they've had enough. I hope so, I really do. Now, down here in Aquitaine, what do I want to do? Is it time to build an improved farmland? I still don't have a castle here, my goodness. Let's finish up the farmland, and then we can do the castle after that. And then Anjou. So Anjou, since it is a castle, and we did just finish up our swordsmith building so that we can train feudal men-at-arms, which is nice, because It's nice having another building where we can do that down here. But I'm thinking, I mean, we have the castle, so we can just go straight to the swordsmith's workshop and get the chivalric men-at-arms just like very soon. This would take 6 turns to build? Yeah. Chivalric men-at-arms are a pretty solid unit. Now they do get sort of like phased out. They don't have a bonus versus armor, and as the campaign goes along, units are more heavily armored. So swordsman type units don't really, you know, I don't know, they don't really age that well. But you know what? I gotta say, so like in these campaigns where you start an early campaign and you play from the beginning, I must say that it does seem like the AI does have a hard time restructuring its armies as time goes on, so that you can still run into pretty lightly armored troops even in the late campaign. One of the things I'm looking forward to eventually when I do play the high period and the late period in this game is I want to see just straight up late game and mid game armies instead of we are in the mid game and we're fighting with early game armies. And I'm guilty of that too. I'm also struggling. You know, I'm still, you know, I have Celtic warriors. That's a very lightly armored man, you know? So it's, you know, swords I think can still kind of hold their own in early period games, even when you are past that early period. So yeah, I think, yeah, let's get them. Let's get some, let's get a swordsmith's workshop. And then maybe tech into like a church after that for that +1 morale. And then let's get some swords going. Just so that we have some more swords in the region. And then Flanders, do we want to train anything? Not really. And then Normandy, same thing. Don't really want to train anything here either. And then Brittany is working on that armor building, and we are still training up Royal Knights. Perfect. And anything else that we need to put in here? Ireland, I think, needs a building. What do we want here in Ireland? So we're training up gal glasses. That feels good. I kind of want more money. Is that what I need here? Do I need more? I mean, I don't. I'm making a lot of money. Making almost 12,000. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, 12,000 per turn. And I'm thinking trade. Trade would feel good. How much am I making off of? 648 off the tier 1 trading post. Yeah, Jesus. Let's get a merchant. And then we can get the other farmland upgrades and then get a castle so we can get the other 2 trading post upgrades. And that is going to be the way to go. Yeah, absolutely. And then coming down here, I think that, yeah, we're working on the castle here. We can probably train some soldiers. I'll take a look at that later on. Tripoli is working on the chapter house, or not the chapter house, but the monastery. Yeah. Antioch is going farmland, and Edessa. So Edessa can finally train Royal Knights. Yes, finally. We can get some our own heavy cav down here. Now, not great. They're 20-man units, but it's something. It's something. And let's continue. Let's go to try to get feudal knights. So I'm thinking, so feudal knights, we would need an armorer's workshop and a horse breeder, and this building. So to get an armorer's workshop, we don't even have a town watch. So let's just get that. It's cheap and it's fast. And then we can get a spearmaker, and then an armor, and then an armorer's workshop, and then this. So then we'll be good. You know? And then, yeah, we're working on it up here in Brittany. We'll get there. I think that we need this, and then this. I think. Armorer's workshop, that's it. We already have the horse breeder. Yeah. So, what would that be? Like 10 turns from now, maybe? We can start training feudal knights up here in Brittany? Oh, that's going to be so nice. Oh, man. It takes a while sometimes. Yeah, it takes a while. Now, the issue with Poland, it is getting out of hand, and that's why I would like some quiet time to myself so that I can, you know, I want to build up my agent tech. And despite the fact that they have a lot of border forts, one thing that I was thinking is that I could start bribing generals that have the disloyal trait. Or like the easy to bribe. Are you one of them? Yeah, moral flexibility. This is a perfect example. So minus 30% of bribery cost. Now, I'm pretty sure that bribing other factions' armies in this game is a declaration of war. I think that it's in Rome where it is not a declaration of war, but in this game, I think it is. And that makes sense because, you know, that would be. And the idea, though, would be to like bribe up armies that I can afford just to start knocking out this infrastructure. So if I can get control of Volhynia, even for one turn, I can start destroying like the border fort, you know, and all the other stuff, quite frankly. And I could maybe start doing that, just picking off little pieces here or there, not to conquer the Poles, but just to sort of destroy their stuff and to kind of destabilize them. And maybe the neighbors can start to maybe prey on the edges of their empire. And then maybe my agents can start to find some slips or some cracks in the armor. And they can find their way in, start to destabilize the region. Using my spy's ability to lower the public order, using my assassins to kill their people, and yeah, all that fun stuff. And also, like, spies and assassins and inquisitors also do lower certain stats for people, even upon failure. So, gosh, I'm trying to remember. I know that inquisitors, even if you are trying someone for heresy and they fail, you are still going to lower that person's dread. So that if that person's a governor, then that province that they are governor of is going to be receiving less of a dread bonus. So that's a way of like lowering the population loyalty in that person's governed province, which is pretty cool. And then I'm trying to think, spies. I think spies will lower. They get really suspicious. Like if you keep spying on them, they basically like, they get very paranoid, and there's a paranoid line that I think lowers loyalty for that character themselves. But then I also think that it lowers the happiness of the province that he is the governor of, if he is a governor. I think I'm a little bit, as you can tell, I'm a little bit spotty. I would have to, you know, read up on my notes again to see what that one is. And then assassins, gosh, there has to be something for assassins. Does it lower piety? Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, but there has to be something that assassins do as well, where even failed assassination attempts, again, repeatedly can cause certain characters to go down a dark path, right? So that's kind of the idea there, is that you can destabilize a region and yeah, cause it to collapse without having to actually invade it. Now, the Poles do have a few boats in the water, but nothing too insane. You know, these are boats that I can pick off. My navies are bigger, so I can destroy their boats and then secure the shipping lanes and not have to worry too much about them. They do have some territories that border the sea, like up here it's Lithuania, Prussia, and Pomerania. Then down here, nothing on the Adriatic, but then over here in the Black Sea, they have Moldavia, and they're fighting over Kiev against the Mongols. So yeah, it's something, but it's not too bad, actually. I mean, for how much territory they have and for how little of that borders water is actually kind of crazy. So yeah, that's going to be okay, I think. But that's going to be the long-term plan. Yeah, build up my agents and start to pick apart the Poles, you know, piece by piece. And that is something that I really like about this game as opposed to Rome. You know, the fact that Rome is like a fight to the death, you know, and that you can, you know, take a lot of regions, these big chunks of regions from factions, and like nothing happens to them. They're like, yeah, fine, whatever. Keep fighting us, bro. And it's like, whoa, hey, what? I just like did a lot of damage to you. I killed a lot of your people and like took a lot of your land. Like, don't you want to break? And they're like, no, fuck it. Just come at me. It's like kind of sad. It's like, I want to stop doing this. I don't need all this land. I just need you to stop fighting me. And I like how in this game, that is what happens. You know, like places destabilize, either they will reach out to you and say, please, can we get a ceasefire? Or they'll just completely implode and they will, you know, have a civil war or reemergence will happen or something like that, you know? And I really like that. You don't have to like, you know, you can leave them alive, which is helpful because we're both Catholic. So like I need princesses for for my princess to marry. And if we get into the late game and there's not that many Catholic factions left, then I'm not going to have too many options. So I like having that option of saying like, all right, I'll fight you and I'll like beat you into submission, but I'm going to keep you alive and I'm going to make sure that you are still supplying princesses just as an option for me to marry my sons off to even into the late game. And the very next turn, look at this. The Egyptians reappear. Oh my. Okay. Okay. So it looks like they're not going to be too strong. 2 stacks, but they're not even full stacks. And one of those stacks did stay rebel. So is that just going to be 2? Yeah, just like 2 stacks for the Egyptians? That looks like a pretty weak reemergence. And did the Mongols move away from Syria? It looks like there's, very few forces left over. Yeah, they're moving up to Rum. I see. Okay. And the Aragonese still do not want that ceasefire. My oh my. And the Italians are not letting me marry their princess. How dare they? And the French king also is not ready for a ceasefire. And anything else here? Okay. All right. I'm very curious. I am very, very curious. What do we have down here? Desert archers, camels, naphthos, Saharans, and a catapult. So nothing too crazy there. A lot of naphthos. Oh my god. Nubian spears and camels, catapults. And then the 2 Gulam bodyguards. The king is a Zeostar for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why. The leaders of reemergences are always very low stats. I don't really understand that. You would think that they'd be like super like Giga Chad, amazing, like think like Alfred the Great or something, like a dynasty that went into hiding and then came back. You would think he'd be the most epic guy ever, but instead it's kind of like this is the guy that did all the work to get the figurehead into place. Like that's what it kind of feels like instead. And it's like I get it like that. Yeah, there's that happened, especially if we're talking about underage children that like went into hiding. There had to have been some pretty strong people to keep them, alive, and in some sort of from a reputation and power. But, then when they're of age, like there's been examples of, capable rulers who, essentially were exiled into like neighboring, kingdoms or empires or something. And they sort of learned the ways of rule by being in that other court, that foreign court essentially, and they come back very knowledgeable and they, take over. So I'm learning about Anglo-Saxon history right now, and yeah, a lot of instances of the enemies of the Mercians, the enemies of King Offa, going into the Charlemagne's court, and then kind of coming back into like the enemies of Mercian kingdoms and kind of taking over and stuff. So yeah, you see a lot of that. So it's kind of funny how the reemergence rulers in this game they always suck. Always. And this army is not great, but I guess that would that's because of Arabia, right? Like Arabia doesn't have more. Oh, it's a Boyar's Guild, armor, swordsmith, spearmakers guild. The swordsmith would get the Egyptians the Arab infantry, would it not? I thought that it would. Yeah, there's like a theory or an idea that reemergence armies are kind of based on the buildings that are available in the province where the reemergence happens, but I don't know if that's true because I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. And then there's another idea that the reemergences always reflect the time period. So this would be like a high period army. But again, we're looking at this and thinking, man, this is pretty low tier stuff, honestly. I say that, watch me get my ass kicked here. There's, just trample me with a bunch of camels and then I lose Palestine. So hopefully that does not happen. Oh, wonderful. The King of Sicily has graciously accepted my proposal of a marriage. That feels good. So that's going to be Prince Alfred, who is now married, and that is currently my only son who is of age. And yeah, the Golden Horde still is not accepting any ceasefires. Okay. King John II, magnificent builder. +2 loyalty to all generals, and +10 happiness in all provinces. Lovely. And Lord Howard is a steward. Agricultural production and happiness boost. Lovely. 1-star general. This is Sir Edward Wolfstand, Gentle Knight. Yeah, that's very good. +3 morale, -3 dread. Yeah, he's a general, not a governor, so that's a very good one. Secret blackmailer. I'm going to check him out, make sure he's going to be okay. And that looks okay, and okay, that's fine as well. Now the Italians are dealing with some sort of civil war here in Burgundy. They're, man, they lost... Did they lose a 5-star general? I don't see any in this stack. So maybe that... Is that 5 stars on a different... What am I missing here? Where's that 5-star general? Yeah, I'm a little confused by what I'm seeing there, but anyway, yeah, they lost a stack there, and they're probably going to keep... I think they're going to be able to defeat that and keep Burgundy. Looks like they're going to be losing Provence, but they can't just take it. They have 3 stacks here in Toulouse. That really bums me out too. I really don't like when factions just put a lot of stacks on borders bordering their allies. Like, you know, a couple makes sense, but this is just absurd, you know? And I think that the Byzantines were doing that as well, a little bit. Whereas we were allied with the Byzantines, and it's like, guys, you got a whole war to fight, you know? Oh well. This is something worth keeping an eye on, because the Italians have sort of been keeping me safe from the Germans and keeping the Germans busy, while also fighting the papacy at the same time. They've done an admirable job, they really have. Yeah, the Italians have done quite well. So this is worth monitoring. And if they just would spread their forces out, you know, they wouldn't have any issues. Oh, this is gonna hurt. They lost Egypt and Sinai. Oh, shit. Okay. Now, the Egyptians might have a path of easy conquest. Taking back these 2 territories that had originally belonged to them. Or maybe the Almohads would jump in and take Egypt. Egypt is very lightly held. It's just a unit of Knights Hospitaller. Yeah. And Sinai has a very beat up army as well. Okay, that could shake things up a little bit. And just the next turn, pretty much the entire Italian Empire has crumbled. Look at this. It's all gone. All they have is Toulouse and their frickin' 3 stacks. One of them went rebel, but still. My goodness, guys, if you had just spread their forces out a bit, eh? Maybe you could have fought back against the, you know, against the rebels. But no, you just lost everything. Gosh darn it. They still have Corsica, Sardinia, Sicily. I wonder if the Sicilians will take this opportunity to take their homeland back. I mean, the Italians have nothing here? Nothing? Like, really nothing? Holding any of these places? Jesus. And no moves down here against Sinai. Yeah, why won't... It looks like Egypt might have attacked Sinai. And then lost? Is that what happened? Or did the Mongols attack Egypt? It's hard to say. My goodness, the Poles have pushed all the way down here to Georgia, my god. You see that half of the map, that corner, that just belongs to them? Yeah, they pushed the Mongols all the way back. My goodness, that is crazy. Alright, yeah, the Italians, they're trying. The Italians are trying a little comeback here, and I'm all for it. Go Italians. And we do have the Swordsmith's Workshop finished here in Anjou, so that we can now train up those chivalric men-at-arms. Lovely. We have another son on the way. Huzzah. Lord Pole, well educated, so that's going to be +1 acumen and command for this. He's a general, but where's his command star? And Prince William, secret avarice, +2 acumen, -10 happiness. Okay. And then you don't have any stars. No, you're, I don't know. +1 morale is good though. Yeah, that's good. And there we go. That's going to be the homeland's objectives for reaching the year 1250. But let's see where the Poles... Yeah, the Poles... Oh my god, they overtook us. Holy shit. Oh my god, look at that. That's crazy. Wow. They're beating us by 6 points. My goodness. Wow. Now, the thing is that now they're not that far removed from us. You know? Like, they could take Armenia and then Syria, and then all of a sudden we are neighbors with the Poles, which would be just crazy. I've never seen this before. I've never seen the Poles do this well. Yeah, that's really something. My goodness. Okay, well, don't want to, don't want to panic here. There's no reason to panic. There's a lot of campaign left. In fact, it's like, I think I'm like halfway. Is it halfway through? 1250, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more counting periods. And we've already had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, yeah, there's 203 turns left to this campaign. So there's still quite a ways to go. But yeah, my goodness, they are doing very well. Very well. Okay, well, I'm starting to get Inquisitors up into their territories, so now I can start to take a peek at these generals here. And for instance, like you're the Prince of Smolensk, and you have 1 dread. So with my Inquisitor, eventually I could remove that 1 dread. Probably not worth it, but I can try anyway. I'm not going to start doing this right away though, because, and for this guy, this is unfortunate, right? 2-star general, he is in command of the stack. This governor, though, I can't reach him because he's not in command of the stack, so that's how that works. But I'm going to continue to get my Inquisitors into position around these Polish territories. Why can't I... Oh, is the Polish Navy stopping my Inquisitor from reaching their territory? Is that what's going on? Interesting. We're not at war. Huh. My first 2 Inquisitors were able to reach Georgia via my navy, but now they can't. Is he being blocked by the Polish boat there? Is that what's doing that? Oh, now we can. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. So yeah, let's I guess keep you in Georgia, I suppose, since the Poles now own Georgia. And we will start to saturate this area with agents. Inquisitors and bishops first, and then eventually, yeah, like emissaries for bribing and then all that. I'm starting to get assassins in my territories as well. We can start picking off unwelcome papacy bishops in my territory. Get out of here, papal bishop. Now these are just 0 valor assassins. Wait, holy shit! You're a famous, you're a historical assassin, aren't you? Guy of Gisborne. I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about, well, English medieval history, honestly. So yeah, tell me your Guy of Gisborne stories. I don't know. Yeah, what did he do? The year 1250. Must have killed someone important. So yeah, he's very good. 5 stars. Hot damn. All right, I'll try to keep him alive. And so there's a thought that, and this isn't just a thought, this is something that works, but not for me. I don't know why. So people will not want to build border forts in their territories. And this goes back to Shogun 1 as well, where people won't want to build border forts because border forts do catch enemy agents. And one of the ways you can build the valor on your agents, that is your spies and your assassins, is by having them counter-spy, by keeping them in your territories and to catch enemy agents that are creeping on into your territories. However, if you have a border fort, I think they just take all of the kills themselves, I think. And therefore, your agents, if you have any in those territories, are not going to be getting their valor up. So people will sometimes destroy the border forts just to create these situations where you can valor up your agents. Now, I don't know. Here's the thing. I like the 5%. I just tell you here, but I know that this gives 5% to the loyalty bonus, which is good. It's fine. You know, probably don't need it, but I like it. I also like the security, just to make sure that no assassins are going to be able to kill my king and his sons. So I like that. I like those two things. And then I have tried, for instance, this because the advice that was given to me was that if you just have say like, all right, don't do it everywhere. Maybe create a trap province. A province where you know, just pick a province which isn't holding your king or any sons or anything. Tear down the border fort, and then you know, put your spies and assassins inside of it, and then maybe even put a bishop or an emissary inside of it to try to attract enemy assassins and spies to that province. And I don't know what it is, but like I've tried that a lot, and it's like the AI factions know that I'm doing it, and they just stop sending assassins and spies. And it does seem, and this is again based on the advice that was given to me, is that it does seem like AI factions kind of, in a sense, it feels like they're always sending assassins and spies, but that's just kind of in our consciousness. It kind of feels that way. When in reality, if you look at the situation on the map and you go, oh, everything's a mess, no one can afford assassins and spies right now, that's probably why. However, if there's like stable regions that are sending them out, then that's because they can afford them, right? So like lately, I've been catching assassins and spies from the Poles, right? That makes sense. They are definitely rich enough to be able to afford to send those agents out. And I think I've also been catching some Spanish ones as well, which also makes sense. Have I been catching I actually did catch a couple Italian ones in my territory. But like no German ones, right? Because they're a mess. No Danish ones, because look at them. No Sicilian ones. So yeah, it does, you know, I know this might seem obvious, but it does depend on the stability of the actual players on the map, right? So these times, these periods of time where I have chosen to try to test this and to try to create a trap province to like a little spider's web to catch enemy assassins and spies with my own counter spies, those may have just been periods of the campaign that were just too unstable to support those types of agent play from the other factions. But still, it's just kind of a weird thing that I've just never been able to really pull it off. But it might be worth trying, you know. I understand it. It seems like it should be valid, right? Now, I like to keep my assassins. One way is that you can just kind of put them in your border territories, and to assassinate anyone that kind of goes into your territories just for practice. But you have to keep an eye on them. If they want to chase enemy agents or just other factions agents outside of your home territories, there's a very high chance that they're going to get caught by enemy border forts and counter spies in their own territories. And that can just happen in a single end turn. You know, you can tell someone to chase this papal bishop, and then in the very next turn, your assassin could be down here getting caught and killed by enemy border forts. There's nothing you can do about it, but yeah, it's you know, it can be worth it to build up these guys' experience in this way. Wait a minute, what just happened here? What just happened? Why am I invading Trebizond? I'm invading Trebizond, and the Byzantines are sending one Arbalaster as an allied force, and I'm attacking the Mongols. Wait a minute. So when I thought that I was grabbing an Inquisitor, and trying to move it around. Did I actually just grab a stack instead? Is that what just happened? I just like misclicked a stack and I sent it to attack the Mongols? Okay, wow, I completely missed that. I didn't really want to fight this. It's a naval invasion though. I'm trying to think. For naval invasions, if I retreat, if I call off the attack, do I lose the stack or no? 414 men. I don't want to lose 414 men, but I don't really want to fight this battle, and this would be a good way for me to find out, I guess. So the King of France has died, but his heir has taken over. And yeah, we're catching Polish assassins up here in Antioch. Castle finishing in Wessex, yes. Ibn Rushd is among the foremost thinkers of this age. Few others match the quality of his study of Aristotle or his belief in radical rationalism. His commentaries are prized by both Islamic and Christian scholars, as are his outstanding skills as a physician, minus 10% zeal in all of Almohad, Spain. Well, that's nothing, so... Yeah, I just want to find out what happened to that stack. Did we get it back? So... Yeah, I can't tell. Did we just lose that stack? I pulled them from Tripoli, correct? And there's nothing here that has 414 men in it. Was it this stack though? I don't know. Huh. Let me keep checking here. Yeah, what a strange thing for me to do. I don't remember having ever done that before. Huh. Yeah, that's bad. If I just lost 414 men for a failed naval invasion, it's weird because if that's the case, if you do lose that stack for calling off an attack for a naval attack, you would think that there would be a message saying, "Are you sure you want to call off this attack? Because you're going to lose that entire stack." You would think, because that's a really big deal. Like you could lose a lot. You know, what if like your king or your heirs were on that stack, right? So I feel like I lost that stack, but I'm not sure. Because I'm not seeing any stacks that have 414 men in it, so I don't know where else those men would be. Just lost at sea, I suppose. Damn. Well, let's check our glorious achievements to see if anything has happened here. And I don't think so. This looks the same, and then that's the same. So yeah, nothing's changed. And then yeah, the polls are just looking very, very scary. So I do have to do something about that at some point. And that is going to be it for the Danes. The Danish king has died from an illness and he has no heirs. It's too bad, guys. I tried. I gave you Norway on a platter and you wouldn't take it. Oh, you fool. Fool. Well, hopefully I can get a reemergence up there. You know, a stronger Danish presence could put some pressure on Northern Europe. Although there's no, well, actually, yeah. If they would put pressure on the Poles, that would be very nice. The Poles are right there. And right here. They're everywhere. Catching assassins here in Palestine, but it's not telling us who those assassins belong to. Same thing here in Flanders. And we have another sun on the way. And a lot of vices and virtues here. Yeah, valor is good. Although you are governor, but so yeah, it doesn't really matter too much for you, I suppose. But still, it matters for the unit, right? It does matter for the unit. Richard Mortimer. That sounds like a... Is that an historical general? I don't know. It's like for some reason the name sounds familiar. And then Lord Dispenser, Great Steward, plus 10 happiness, plus 20% to agricultural production. And Sir Roger Longchamp, Great Builder, 10 happiness, plus 1 to loyalty. Perfect. And now the Almohads have fallen. The Almohad Khalifa was captured and executed. I wonder who that was by. There's no way the Spanish Crusade finally succeeded. There's no way. I wonder if they died attacking the rebels in Sinai, maybe? Or Egypt? Yeah, I don't know. Looks like we caught some papal assassins here in Palestine. And some Polish assassins as well. And some mystery assassins here in Aquitaine. And some Italian assassins here in Aquitaine. Brothels finished in Tripoli. Now we can finally start training spies here in Tripoli. And then Castle finished in Palestine. Now I can build the Boyar's Workshop so that I can start getting the longbowmen here. But now I do have longbowmen in every one of my provinces. This has been just the episode that I needed to nice and peaceful. I was able to build things up, get my agents online. I'm ready to go. My armies are good. This was going to be the final piece. I was just going to say this is the final piece that I needed. Was the royal estate finished here in Brittany? So now that I can train feudal knights, I believe a most miraculous skull, a marvelous relic, has been discovered, and now it adds the blessing and sanctity to the magnificence of the cathedral in Milan. It is a miracle that the Baptist's holy skull, and his skull at the age of 12, no less, is now in the possession of the true church. Catholic zeal has increased throughout northern Italy. Okay. And anything, Lord De Vere, loyalty and happiness, and any starred generals that need to concern me? Nope. Okay, so the Poles have pushed the Mongols down to Syria. This is their last province, which is crazy. This is something I have never... This is so... Wow, this is such an incredible thing. So that's going to be quite the challenge to defeat. I mean, it's not like they have a ton of forces. They're very, very spread out. So, you know, I could just attack them. That is an option for sure. Especially now that we almost border each other. Not quite. If they take Syria, we will border each other. Yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting. And here are the feudal knights. I can finally train these in Brittany. Finally, my goodness, the year 1255. Feudal knights hold land in return for military service. Trained from infancy to be warriors, they hold political and military power in their mailed fists. They are adept at charging down opponents with their lances, and they are honorable and brave to the point of recklessness. Yeah, let's get some of these bad boys going. And actually, I can also read off the description of the chivalric men-at-arms. So not all the very heavy infantry are noble. Most are professionals or gentry who make do with old or second-hand armor. These swordsmen are good for both attack and defense, and often form the backbone of a battle line. Heavily armored as they are, they can be slow-moving. So we have some of them going as well. And how long will it be before I can get chivalric knights here in Brittany? I think that I need a citadel, I believe. And I might want to go for that right away, maybe? I mean, I can get these economy buildings out of the way since I'm here. And I'm really going to be needing money to fund my war against the Poles when it happens. For sure. I'm sitting at over 200,000, which it feels good. It's a good chunk. It is. But that money can go away rapidly if my trade gets disrupted. So I don't want to, you know, feel like I'm safe here. I am going to call it here for tonight, but I am pretty happy with my progress, as I was saying. things are looking okay. But I'm also looking forward to the challenge of taking down the Polish giant as well, and I'm looking forward to conducting my subterfuge campaign against them in due time. But before I go, I just wanted to say that if you're enjoying these videos and you would like to support the channel, then consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. It all helps immensely. So until next time, this has been Conasip playing Medieval Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.